Top 10 Smartest Characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen is a series filled with monsters, sorcerers, cursed techniques, and ridiculously powerful characters. But raw power is not everything. Sometimes, the person who wins is not the person with the strongest cursed technique. It is the person who understands the situation better. The person who can predict their opponent. The person who knows when to attack, when to retreat, and when to sacrifice something to achieve a bigger goal. And throughout Jujutsu Kaisen, we have seen some characters display absolutely insane levels of intelligence. So today, we are ranking the top 10 smartest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. This list is based on battle IQ, strategic thinking, knowledge of Jujutsu, planning, adaptability, and overall intelligence. And yes, there will be manga spoilers. Let's get started. Number 10. Suguru Geto. At number 10, we have Suguru Geto. Geto was not just a powerful special-grade sorcerer. He was also an extremely intelligent strategist. His cursed technique, cursed spirit manipulation, allowed him to control and store cursed spirits. But what made Geto dangerous was how creatively he used that ability. Geto understood that his strength did not come from one powerful technique. It came from having thousands of different options available to him. He could use weaker cursed spirits for specific purposes, while saving his strongest spirits for important battles. He also understood the political side of the Jujutsu world. After becoming disillusioned with Sorcerer Society, Geto did not simply start attacking people randomly. He created an entire organization. He gathered followers, he recruited powerful cursed users, and most importantly, he developed a long-term plan for creating a world where non-sorcerers would no longer exist. His ideology was obviously extreme, but from a strategic perspective, Geto was extremely intelligent. He understood people, organization, manipulation, and the strengths of his own technique. That is why he earns a spot on this list. Number 9. Mahito. Mahito might look like a childish psychopath, but do not let his personality fool you. Mahito was one of the fastest learners in the entire series. His curse technique, idol transfiguration, was already incredibly dangerous, but Mahito constantly discovered new ways to use it. Every time he fought someone, he learned something. And every near-death experience made him more dangerous. His battle against Nanami and Yuji is a perfect example. Mahito quickly learned how humans fought. He experimented with his technique. He created transfigured humans. He developed new forms. And eventually, he discovered his domain expansion. But his greatest display of intelligence was his ability to understand the nature of his own soul. Mahito realized that the shape of the soul determined the shape of the body. That understanding allowed him to manipulate himself in ways most sorcerers could not even comprehend. He also developed instant spirit body of distorted killing. This showed that Mahito was not simply becoming stronger. He was actively studying himself and his abilities. His growth rate was terrifying. If Mahito had been given even more time to develop, he could have become an even bigger threat. Number 8. Atsuya Kusakabe. Number 8 might surprise some people. Atsuya Kusakabe. He does not have a flashy inherited technique. He does not have a massive cursed energy reserve. He does not possess a special grade curse technique. Yet Kusakabe is one of the smartest pure combatants in the entire series. His greatest strength is understanding Jujutsu fundamentals. Kusakabe knows exactly how to fight without depending on an overpowered ability. His simple domain is extremely refined, and his ability to analyze situations during combat is exceptional. Kusakabe understands distance, timing, positioning, swordsmanship, cursed energy reinforcement, and defensive techniques. He is also one of the characters who understands just how dangerous the strongest enemies really are. Kusakabe does not underestimate opponents. He knows when a situation is hopeless. And unlike some characters who rush into dangerous situations because of their pride, Kusakabe actually thinks about survival. That might sound simple, but in Jujutsu Kaisen, staying alive is a skill. Kusakabe proves that you do not need an insanely broken curse technique to become an elite sorcerer. Sometimes, knowledge and experience are enough. Number 7. Mei Mei. Mei Mei is one of the most calculated characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. She treats Jujutsu like a business, and honestly, that makes her extremely dangerous. Mei Mei does not fight because of friendship, honor, or pride. She fights when the reward is worth the risk. This mindset allows her to remain surprisingly objective during dangerous situations. Her curse technique, Blackbird Manipulation, allows her to control crows. At first, that might sound unimpressive, but Mei Mei understands how to maximize the usefulness of a seemingly simple technique. She can use crows for reconnaissance. She can gather information. She can monitor enemies from a distance. And with Bird Strike, she turns her crows into devastating weapons. The technique is particularly powerful because of the binding vow involved. Mei Mei understands the rules of Jujutsu and uses those rules to her advantage. She also understands information. And in a world like Jujutsu Kaisen, information can be more valuable than raw strength. Mei Mei is the kind of fighter who studies the battlefield before making a move. That is exactly why she belongs on this list. Number 6. Aoi Todo. And yes, the man who asks people what kind of women they like is actually a genius. Todo possesses one of the highest battle IQs in the series. His curse technique, Boogie Woogie, allows him to switch the positions of people or objects by clapping his hands. On paper, the ability sounds simple, but Todo uses it with incredible creativity. During his fight alongside Yuji against Hanami and later against Mahito, Todo constantly manipulated the battlefield. He could switch positions instantly. He could create fake openings. He could confuse opponents. He could change the direction of an attack. And most importantly, he could process information extremely quickly. During combat, Todo is constantly analyzing his opponent. He understands their curse technique. He studies their habits. He predicts their movements. And then he creates a counterattack. His fight with Yuji also demonstrates something important. Todo does not just teach people how to fight. He teaches them how to think. He helped Yuji improve his understanding of cursed energy and black flash. Todo is basically a walking combat computer. He may act completely insane outside of battle, but once the fighting starts, his brain operates at an entirely different level. Number 5. Hiromi Higuruma. Higuruma is one of the most fascinating examples of natural intelligence in Jujutsu Kaisen. Before becoming a sorcerer, Higuruma was a lawyer. He was already extremely intelligent in the real world. Then he awakened a curse technique. And instead of simply using it like a normal fighter, he understood its rules incredibly quickly. His domain extension, Deadly Sentencing, creates a courtroom. Inside the domain, Higuruma's Shikigami, Judgment, presents a case against the target. The target can then be judged. This technique is extremely complicated, but Higuruma learns how to exploit its rules. He understands evidence, he understands legal procedures, he understands how information affects the outcome, and he can turn those rules into a weapon. His growth as a sorcerer is also incredible. Higuruma had only been practicing jujutsu for a very short period of time, yet he developed skills that took experienced sorcerers years to master. He learned reverse curse technique. He became proficient with domain expansion. He learned to manipulate cursed energy at an extremely high level. And during his confrontation with Sukuna, Higuruma continued adapting despite facing one of the most terrifying opponents in history. That level of natural talent is almost absurd. Number 4. Yuta Okotsu. Yuta is obviously one of the strongest characters in the series. but his intelligence is sometimes overshadowed by his power. Yuta is an extremely adaptable fighter. His curse technique, copy, gives him access to a wide variety of abilities. But having many abilities is not enough. The real challenge is knowing which ability to use and when to use it. Yuta is excellent at this. He constantly changes his fighting style depending on his opponent. He can fight with a sword, he can use Rika, he can use copied curse techniques, he can use reverse curse technique, he can use domain expansion, and he can combine these abilities in creative ways. Yuta also has an excellent understanding of his opponents. During major battles, he rarely wastes his strongest options. He carefully considers what information the enemy has. He understands teamwork, and he is willing to make difficult decisions if it gives his side a better chance of winning. His fight against Kenjaku is a great example of strategic thinking. Rather than giving Kenjaku the opportunity to prepare for him, Yuta's side used surprise and timing to eliminate one of the biggest threats on the battlefield. Yuta is not simply powerful, he is extremely adaptable. And adaptability is one of the most important forms of intelligence in Jujutsu Kaisen. Number 3. Satoru Gojo. The strongest modern sorcerer is also one of the smartest. Gojo's intelligence is often hidden behind his goofy personality, but when he becomes serious, his understanding of Jujutsu is incredible. Gojo understands cursed energy at a level that almost nobody else can reach. His six eyes allow him to perceive cursed energy with extraordinary precision. His limitless technique is also extremely complicated, yet Gojo uses it almost effortlessly. What makes Gojo particularly impressive is his ability to learn and adapt during battle. His fight against Toji changed his understanding of reverse curse technique. After nearly dying, Gojo figured out how to use reverse curse technique and unlocked an entirely new level of power. His battle against Sukuna also showed how quickly he could adapt to an opponent. Gojo could analyze techniques in the middle of combat. He could change his strategy. He could use domain expansion multiple times. He could modify his techniques. And he could even alter the conditions of his abilities to gain an advantage. Gojo's greatest weakness was never a lack of intelligence. If anything, his biggest problem was that his overwhelming power sometimes made him overconfident. But when it comes to understanding Jujutsu and fighting at an elite level, very few people can match him. Number 2. Ryomen Sukuna. Sukuna is not just powerful. He is terrifyingly intelligent. One of the most impressive things about Sukuna is how quickly he understands curse techniques. He can observe an ability and begin figuring out how it works. He understands the fundamental principles of Jujutsu, and he knows how to manipulate those principles to create new possibilities. His fight against Gojo is probably the best example. Sukuna did not simply overpower Gojo. He studied him. He studied the limitless. He studied the six eyes, and he used Maharaga's adaptation as a way to discover a method for bypassing infinity. Eventually, Sukuna took what he learned from Maharaga and developed the world-cutting slash. That is an insane level of battle intelligence. Sukuna is also extremely good at identifying weaknesses. He does not waste time attacking an opponent's strongest point if there is an easier way to defeat them. He looks for the smallest opening. Then he exploits it. Another example is his fight with Higuruma. Instead of simply overwhelming Higuruma with power, Sukuna understood the rules of his technique and looked for ways to manipulate the situation. But before we continue, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I make more videos like this covering everything from Jujutsu Kaisen theories, characters, power levels, and the details you might have missed. So if you don't want to miss the next one, subscribe now. And let's get back into it. Sukuna's intelligence is one of the reasons he is so difficult to defeat. He is not just a monster with enormous cursed energy. He is a monster who understands exactly how to use it. But there is still one person who I believe deserves the #1 spot. Number 1. Kenjaku. And honestly, this one is difficult to argue against. Kenjaku is possibly the greatest planner in the entire history of Jujutsu Kaisen. While Sukuna is an incredible combat genius, Kenjaku operates on an entirely different scale. His plans can span decades, sometimes even centuries. Kenjaku has lived through multiple eras by transferring his brain into different bodies. This allowed him to accumulate an enormous amount of knowledge. But knowledge alone does not make someone a genius. He even manipulated events surrounding Yuji's birth. He created connections between different generations. He prepared cursed objects. He manipulated sorcerers from the past. And he used the Shibuya incident to completely change the balance of power in the modern jujutsu world. What makes Kenjaku even more impressive is that he does not need to be the strongest person in the room. He prefers to control the room. That is the difference between Kenjaku and many other intelligent characters. Sukuna is a genius fighter. Gojo is a genius sorcerer. But Kenjaku is a genius planner. So, who do you think is the smartest character in Jujutsu Kaisen? Did Kenjaku deserve number 1? Or would you put Sukuna or Gojo above him? Let me know your ranking in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more Jujutsu Kaisen rankings, theories, and breakdowns.